Got it.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Today is July the 9th, 2025. It is 7:04. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Ariana, can I please have a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Hondru?
Here.
Commissioner Oravecz?
Here.
Commissioner Postufka?
Here.
Commissioner Lazzini?
Here.
Commissioner Sray?
Here.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 4, at this point, we'll have public comments. These are for agenda items only. Anyone that wishes to make a comment, could you please come to the podium, state your name, address, and just wanted to remind everyone that this meeting is recorded and broadcast at a later date on YouTube. Are there any public comments? Come on. I don't know. Did you get an agenda? Okay. Very good. Correspondence. A, South Fayette Library. Ben?
No additional real comment, just to draw your attention to that we did submit the extension following our public workshop meeting for the grant request. I have not heard back yet, but I will let you know as soon as I do. The only other thing I neglected to include, Beer for Books, our annual fundraiser, is going to be on Thursday, September 11th. And that's it.
Okay, September 11th.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ben. 5B, Oak Ridge Volunteer Fire Department. Anything there, John?
I went through it. It seemed like a light month, not a lot of incidents, but I don't see anyone from Oak Ridge here,
Okay.
so I don't think there's much to report.
Very good. Dan, anything from EMS? Item 6, consent of calendar items, approval of the minutes.
I can make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 6B, payment of bills. Anything to review there?
I could just go through with you the top 5 expenses if you like. We have our August health insurance bill to MEIT. It's our largest bill. A bill to MS Consultants, our architects working on Miller's Run rehab. IBIS emergency vehicles. This is the outfit of some of a new police car, and then 2 engineering bills, one for the Mohawk Battle Ridge Road inspections and another for work related to the Fairview TASA grant, which is for for trails within the park.
Okay. Very good. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6C, financial reports.
Just a few things to note in budget to actual, kind of keeping tabs at the big picture things here. I mentioned to you in June that, we had a large collection of real estate the month before with a deadline, with a discount deadline. And this month, we picked up another $1 million. So year to date in the real estate tax, we're about 91% collected, which is good with 6 months left. Looking at big picture, year to date, we've collected $13.5 million in revenue and spent $7.6. So general fund's healthy with about a $5.9 million surplus. Now, some of our expenses will catch up with us later in the year, and some of the revenues will die down. So we can't project that pace, but I know we're going to think about a second quarter review. We'll dive a little deeper into revenues to date and expenses to date and do some end-of-year projections.
Very good. Thank you, John. Would someone like to please make a motion for acceptance of the financial reports?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6D, bank account balances.
Yeah, these are included largely for transparency. You'll see that, as of July 2nd, the general fund had about $7.7 million in it, which is good. The capital reserve is below where we need it to be, so we'll do that balancing game of transferring appropriately and making sure that we, keep our capital projects funded appropriately.
Thank you. Someone like to make a motion to accept the bank balances?
I'll make the motion.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7, liaison reports, public safety. That'd be me. I know, I think it's on the 17th. There's a committee meeting for the South Fayette Fire Advisory Council. They're working on looking at potential job descriptions for the fire administrator position that we'd spoken about. Other than that, it's been fortunately a rather light month from a public safety standpoint. For public infrastructure and service, Becky, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything to report.
Leanne, anything for finance and admin?
So the June 19th SHACOG meeting, there was a presentation by the SHACOG Technical Rescue Team. They also accept the lowest bid for the joint OEM and CCTV inspections, although South Fayette doesn't participate in that bid.
Okay. Thank you. Tim, anything?
Yeah, on June 12th, we had a meeting with some of the commissioners with the school board, and it was a very productive meeting. I thought so. And we had the commitment that we're going to go ahead and do this quarterly. They're going to appoint a liaison from their board and with myself, and we're going to have these meetings quarterly to go ahead and open that communication up. So I think that's a good step forward.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Hondru, anything for community and economic development?
Yes, sir. So I had a meeting with the architects about 2.5 weeks ago. It was open forum. Chuck and I were there, as well as John, regarding the changes over at 515 Millers Run Road. That's really coming together. Should have final drawings in the next, hopefully, couple weeks, and have the bid package out by the fourth quarter of 25 to start possibly spring of 26.
Okay.
So that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Item 8, any old or unfinished business?
No, none.
Very good. Move ahead. Item 9, new business. 9A, discuss and consider S-3-2025 TAR Oakdale Plan of Lots Number 1, preliminary and final minor subdivision. This is a consolidation application for parcels 407N-389 and 407J-5, which is currently zoned R3.
I'll take that. So this consolidation plan is part of the Walker's Mill Townhome project, which came through the township several months ago, seeking conditional use approval, which it was granted. This consolidation plan is simply to join the 5 parcels involved, 3 of them being Oakdale Borough parcels, 2 of them being South Fayette, and that's the only action for this application. We did review the plan, provided a comment letter dated June 19th. Allegheny County Department of Economic Development also provided a review letter dated June 13th, and the applicant and their consultant did respond and revise the comments and the plans accordingly. We have no outstanding comments, and the Planning Commission recommended approval.
Yeah. I was at that planning meeting, and I also read the packet. I have no other questions.
I don't either.
Yep.
Would anyone like to make the motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
All right.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. You second, guys.
Motion carries. Where are we on? 9B?
B.
Discuss and consider S-4-2025 Walker's Mill Townhomes Phase 1, preliminary and final minor subdivision application for parcels 492-M312, 407N-397, and 407-J-5 zoned R3. Jason, is that little cul-de-sac cut out?
It is, yeah. That's the only involvement in South Fayette Township. Now, this is the final subdivision plan for the Oakdale portion of the development. So they will, once they're through Oakdale Borough, they will be cleared to begin that process and actually begin constructing the project and ultimately the townhomes. But the only involvement at this time is half of a cul-de-sac that projects into South Fayette.
And that's why they need our approval.
Correct.
All right, would anyone like to make a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
9C, discuss and consider for reapproval S-7-2024 Bass Pro Shops preliminary and minor subdivision application, parcel 256-C-5, which is zoned PED.
Correct. So the board previously approved this subdivision. The reason they're back before you is there is an ordinance requirement to record this plan within 90 days of approval, or you have to come back in for reapproval. They hit a couple minor hurdles with that project and permitting and whatnot. Yep. So it sounds like it's going to be a few weeks or months before
Final permits.
They're ready to go through with that. So that was this action tonight. Now, the land development is not subject to that 90-day timeline because we don't record land developments in South Fayette. So that project does not need to go through. Now, there are no changes proposed from what you previously reviewed and approved.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, or would someone like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. 9D, discuss and consider motion to approve 2 West Penn Power easements for electrical installation at Fairview Park. It's for lights, I presume?
Yes, this,
For the power line, the power installation going up the hill, so.
Yeah.
Just an easement for West Penn Power for them to
Gotta have it.
record it downtown.
Gotta have
I'll
power.
make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. 9E, discuss and consider a motion to award a contract to Minifield Demolition Services LLC for the demolition of 475 Dutch Hill Road in the amount not to exceed $14,000. So I know we've talked about that property quite a bit, so this is just
yeah, right.
Get it knocked down.
We got competitive bids.
Yep.
You guys were able to advertise that for us, so we're in good shape to award this.
and we do have the not to exceed language in that bid.
I'm good with that.
All right.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. 9F, discuss and consider the third and final pay app for Mohawk Road in the amount of $48,809.39, leaving a fund balance of $0. This is for that extension off that comes from Mohawk down to Battle Ridge. I know it's done. I guess we're just waiting on what, the power company or Verizon to,
To raise the utilities.
Raise utilities.
Yes, but that's not on the contractor. His work is completed. We've obviously reviewed this and signed off on it as well.
okay. Any guess when Verizon's going to get out there?
2 weeks is kind of what we're hearing here for them to mobilize, but I would say in under a month, it should be done.
Try to wait at home between 8 and 5, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we also can't open that road up because
We're waiting on that. Yeah, just, I mean, it's not going to affect car traffic, but.
If a box truck or an Amazon
Yeah, yeah.
truck came
Buses
by.
or things of that nature, yes.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion for the third and final payment of $48,809.39 to the contractor for the construction of Mohawk Road?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess this will kind of be a little rapid fire here. We have 3 grant applications. The first one is to discuss and consider a motion to approve Resolution 25-13, which authorizes the township manager to submit a grant application to the Multimodal Transportation Grant Fund in the amount of blank for the Old Oakdale Sidewalk Program. So this would be for sidewalks potentially in front of the school.
Right, yeah, we did update this to include an amount of
$250,000.
$250,000. And so that would be a chunk that would install sidewalks from close to the Battle Ridge intersection in front of the school and extend past the school and connect to the Berkshires. The way we were looking to set this application up would be to use the grant money to offset a portion of the school's expense as well as the entirety of the township's expense for those 2 projects. So there would still be some skin in the game on the school as they're coming through with land developments for improvements to the school that do require sidewalks. This would be a plan to help reduce that burden while extending them beyond just their property.
All right. Does anyone have any questions on this resolution?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, so, with the meeting we had with the school, was that it was supposed to be across the street, right? So the school has to build a new bus garage across the street. So there was going to be sidewalks across the street, and it really didn't make sense. And the cost of it was going to be over $1 million,
Yeah.
right? Because it's kind of a hillside. So I think we decided it makes sense to have it on the same side as the school, because that's where the houses are.
Yep.
It's common sense, right? So on the same side of the school where the houses are. And I didn't know it's going to extend over, it's going to keep going down to where the ones are, is that past the farmhouse, like Forest
Well, that
Ridge?
would, I mean,
Or Berkshires?
They do this in phases.
that wouldn't be on
It'd be in
the,
phases.
an obligation of the school.
Okay.
Per our ordinance. The grant application we're submitting would kind of piggyback on what the school's doing to expand that
Okay.
further and pay for those
'Cause
improvements.
I think the safety for the kids, I mean, as we know right now, there's no sidewalks and, there's no sidewalks in front of the school and the kids are riding their bikes and everything else. So
Yeah.
that's a great idea. Thanks.
Would you like to make a motion to approve the application
I'll
for a
make the
grant?
motion and second, and I'm gonna, I might as well make it. Yeah. I'll
Anyone
make that
wants-
motion.
Anyone want a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. All right, 9H, discuss and consider a motion to approve Resolution 25-14, which authorizes the township manager to submit a grant application to the Multimodal Transportation Grant Fund in the amount of $350,000 for traffic improvements along Presto-Saigon Road. I think this is for lights.
These are signals at
signals.
the intersection of Presto Saigon and Newberry Highland. So that would also include probably some pedestrian buttons and crossings, but basically the entrance to the Newberry development and as it intersects with the residential
on the
development.
backside, okay.
Signaling that.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the resolution just authorizing us to submit a grant?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Third and final with grants. Discuss and consider a motion to approve Resolution 2025-15, authorizing the township manager to submit a grant application to the Multimodal Transportation Fund grant in the amount of $150,000 for the Mayview Trailhead and Multimodal Connection.
Go ahead, Paul, you know a little bit more.
Yeah, so I submitted an application to DCNR, so also just trying to get funding for that trailhead, which would be across from OTB that connected up to Fairview Park.
It's great.
Anyone have any questions? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item J, discuss and consider a motion to approve, a motion to advertise, not approve, to advertise the Panhandle Trail Improvement Project for public bidding. Now, this is the paving stuff we talked about yesterday?
This would be paving the trail. We did receive a grant, $130,000, that would offset some of these costs. The part that we've picked for this bid would pave 1.8 miles of the trail, picking up from the county line and extending, I guess that would be what, towards?
McDonald.
Towards McDonald.
Which is already paved.
Yeah. Jason and our friends at Gibson Thomas put an opinion of probable cost together with a contingency. They think it's about $275, so the grant would pay for about half of it.
How many miles do we have in South Fayette?
It's back on the previous
What's the
thing.
total?
It's like 2.7, but it goes, so this is our largest stretch that we're doing currently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's
Then
a
it
good
goes,
image
then
of
it goes into
A portion of Oakdale and a portion of
Oakdale
North
and then
Fayette.
North Fayette, yes.
So this right here is Oakdale. So we have this coming from Collier.
Mm-hmm.
Then it breaks up, and then this is Oakdale. Then it picks back up. Then this portion by like Sturgeon is North Fayette, and then it picks up for that longest piece.
Yeah.
We're paving all of it, right? So it's one. It's
only
not
one
just.
So we're going to break it into two phases. So we're going to do our largest section now with this grant, and then we'll budget for next year to do the next section. And then we're going to try to have some conversations about some partnerships with those other municipalities.
Yeah, I think
But
if I'm.
even if it's in there, like, we're still paving it, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, initially, we had applied for a larger grant to pave all of it, but we were only funded for, about not even half of what we
we asked
applied
for.
for. So we thought we'd break it in half. But, Paul and I have talked about, having discussions and meetings with the neighboring community so we can maybe do a joint project, get the rest of it done all at once.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. I'll make that motion, Chuck.
All right. Second to have a motion to advertise the Panhandle Trail project for bidding.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item K, discussion of potential renewable energy systems ordinance. This will not require action. It's just a renewal or a review of a potential ordinance.
Yeah, right. This has been on our radar, and I think, we mentioned conceptually to the board that we were planning this. We've been working behind the scenes with planning director and the solicitor on creating a draft ordinance. So we currently have no regulations on any kind of solar installations, whether they be, something on your home or something like a solar field or a large solar installation. So we thought, we've taken a few inquiries, so our thought was we should probably put some regulations in place. Started by just, looking and seeing what some of our neighbors were doing, maybe having some discussions with the board about where we'd like to see some of these things. So the way that the ordinance is drawn up now, it would not permit any of the large installations, things like solar farms in a residential district. They would be restricted to commercial or industrial districts. It sets regulations for single home installations, rooftop units, those kind of things that would be permitted in basically all the districts. And to do that, there's a number of changes or amendments we need to make to our ordinances for each of those zoning districts. So, Gary, you and your team kind of set this up to, some of them are conditional uses, some of them are uses by right. The draft really does, the largest takeaways are breaks up big and small installations and does not permit the large in the residential neighborhoods, but only in the commercial or the industrial.
So since there's no action required, I just move on?
I mean, unless there's if you guys disagree with anything in that or anything you've seen there, we'd want to hear it. Our plan would be, we would have to advertise and then adopt this. So before we advertise, I just want to make sure you guys are okay with it. Maybe between now and our next meeting, if you look at the draft, there's maybe a handful of sections that are highlighted. And those are just areas where, we made some decisions or used some judgment that we just want to affirm with you guys.
Yeah, all I want to do is get clarity on where, I-1 and C2 are. I mean, I have a zoning map, but I looked, so I just want to make sure I understand their proximity to residences and other businesses, so. Okay, we'll move along to item 9L, discussion and potential rezoning along the Southern Beltway corridor to planned economic development, PED. This is also doesn't require any action.
Yeah, I wanted to put this on as a discussion because, we've had a lot of discussion about this notion. When we talk about the area around the Southern Beltway, we think there's potential there. I think when we look at our existing zoning map and see that it's, majority of it is zoned R1, we think to ourselves, well, I don't know if maybe that's how we want to develop it. So we started kind of looking back through some of our planning documents. In almost 2 years ago, we adopted a comprehensive plan that spent a good amount of time talking about the Southern Beltway district and the need for zoning to change. One of the recommendations it made was for us to review the possibility of simply extending the planned economic development zoning to that corridor. Which, I think is a concept that makes a lot of sense. To do that, we'd have to, follow the process spelled out in the municipality's planning code. We'd have to do some advertisements to properties. We'd have to convene some public hearings. And I think maybe that fear of an extended process is what has stopped us from taking action. But like I said, we are 2 years into that comp plan. I think we're, starting to talk more seriously about what we want to see along that corridor. So, given the options of either creating another zoning district, which, might take a little bit more time, it's a little unproven. We think the notion of, extending the PED to that corridor makes a lot of sense.
So I guess my question is, if you had a property owner that had property that was zoned R1 or another designation, would the township need to seek input or approval from that owner? Is that
not necessarily? Gary, feel free to chime in. I don't believe we would need approval, but we'd have to provide them notice that we're considering it and give them the opportunity to make comment on it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But there would be, arguably, I guess, maybe pros and cons both ways, depending on what they wanted to do with it, if it was PED or another designation.
Yeah. Quite honestly, where we've seen the PED struggle is with smaller properties, right? It's meant to address larger parcels for more campus style of development. When you have, a few acre lot, it's kind of tough to zone it. There's not a lot in this corridor. But there are a few, so we, probably should talk about its impact upon all of the parcels in that district. So we do have, good parcel information. We can probably share that with you guys where we think it's going to be. If you look at the comp plan, there's a proposed map that they throw out for our consideration. I would, probably start with trying to mirror a lot of what that comp plan suggests. So that might be a starting point for us.
I know that one time we looked at the topographic map. I mean, there's some of the stuff down at the bottom
Right.
of South Fayette Way that just isn't buildable.
Right.
Right, it's a cliff up the one side, so,
Yeah.
An aerial view looks like a big tract of land that I guess technically is, but it's
Right.
not buildable for anything.
Yeah, and the other thought would be, if we were going to go down this path of doing some rezoning, there might be a few other, like odds and ends of what I'll call cleanup zoning that we might want to add to this. There's parcels in Sturgeon we spoke about that
Yeah.
we think don't make sense zoned the way they are. So this might be an opportunity for us to include a few of these things and get them all at once.
Yeah. And the other thing too, John, is when the PED was originally done, I think it was in 99 or 2000, right? So the Southern Beltway
Right.
wasn't even. Didn't exist. So now with that being, a major, roadway through our township, we have to do our fiduciary duty. I think that at least look at it and say, does it make sense if we want to go ahead and try to, spur economic development, commercial development, whatever it is, to look at how that changed, because there's now a major roadway through there.
Right.
Any other comments, questions?
I'm good.
Great idea.
You guys cool if we move to department reports?
Yeah.
Please.
All right. First on the docket, Mr. Barrett, manager's report.
Okay, majority of the items on my report were in front of you this evening. So, I spoke of the renewable energy ordinance that you're considering and the PED zoning that we spoke about. I gave some explanation to the grants that we're including in and are seeking for, the multimodal transit fund. The Miller's Run project, I know Commissioner Hondru alluded to it, but, just to give everyone maybe a little bit more in-depth of an update, we did have, public session where conceptual design was shown. We're really close to finalizing that. Next steps are taking that concept and asking the architects to turn it into, technical documents that can be bid upon. We're going to do a little bit level of review with, the construction consultant we had brought in previously, and look to, hopefully get those, that project in a position to be bid by later this fall, early winter. So looking forward to that. I know that, Ben had some feedback with the architects on the internal layout and the design. That feels like you're at a spot that you're comfortable with. So I think we're close. We're happy with the pace that it took. Other than that, maybe just quick shout out to TJ out there, who's our municipal intern. He came last month and shared with you a little bit about the project he's working on. That discussion of the PED is somewhat related to the analysis that TJ's been doing for us. So, maybe when we go forward with some of the further consideration of that PED, we hope to maybe use some of the data that he's collected and maybe project it forward, so we can look at the model he's helped us make to think about potential tax benefits of different kinds of development. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Thank
all
you.
that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick, assistant manager's report.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll be brief. Tax complaints, obviously, the top of my list again. We have an issue with sales in the township where closing companies can't get a hold of the information they need from the tax collector. So that's holding up sales. I emailed, obviously, with you, Gary, and because he should have turned over the delinquent, our tax collector should have turned over the delinquents to Jordan, who was our delinquent tax collector at the end of April. And they're still not in Jordan's hand at this point, and it's still July. So I think it might be to the point that we need to send him a letter to say, officially on file, you need to get them the delinquents so that they can pursue these. Because where I'm going with this is we had a resident that basically didn't get her 2024 tax bill, and she wants to pay her tax bill, but I couldn't get our current tax collector to print her a copy of the tax bill so that she could in turn pay it to us. And she wants to voluntarily give it to us. And I just can't say to her, pay this amount because I don't have a tax bill, obviously.
You're not the tax collector.
Exactly. So I want to try to help her as much as possible. But so I've been going round and round with our current tax collector trying to get this woman a tax bill so that she can pay her bill and we can get this resolved for her. The second bullet point that I just want to briefly talk on, tomorrow I'm going to be sending you dates. Allegheny County Economic Development is going to come out, and since we were having a topic of the topic of the Beltway discussion tonight, this was part of the things that we discussed with when Commissioner Postufka was here last month, one of the property owners, and Allegheny County Economic Development, the ACE's chief of staff wants to come out and look at the land and see how they can help us out and what we can do to basically get that. Turn that into something valuable for the township.
Time my notes. Let me know when you have that date set.
I'll have the
If my
dates.
schedule.
I have a bunch of dates, so I'll send them out to all of you tomorrow for whoever wants to come.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that, Pat.
You're welcome. And if there's any other questions on it, there's a lot of demolition talk on the report. We got one. The first domino fell tonight when you awarded the bid, so there'll be other dominoes to fall. So
Yes, thanks.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Building permits.
Right. Good month for the township from a permit standpoint. Collected 4,500 in commercial fees and another almost 13,000 in residential fees. So, still kind of lagging behind last year, but we had some huge projects that really made it an anomaly. But moving along, good month for us
Okay.
in June.
Thanks, Noel.
Communications and community development. Andrea?
Hello, Andrea Igler, Director of Communications and Community Development. Our summer issue, I don't want to get ahead of myself there, of the magazine is coming out tomorrow. It should go to the mailboxes. We focus a lot on some police programs in this issue, including e-bike and e-scooter safety. The chief provided some information. We had some information from PennDOT. I know that's been a topic of discussion lately, so we're trying to support that information in this issue of the magazine. Also, the revenue for this magazine, $19,500, including 4 new advertisers. The TV channel, so we talked last month about that we were having trouble confirming that it was actually on people's televisions, and we're still kind of in that state. I don't know if anyone else has seen anything. Next week, Tuesday, Comcast is supposed to come to the municipal building and fix our televisions. Like, we can't get cable right now, so we haven't been able to confirm in the building that it's being received like a customer would. I did happen to be at a restaurant in South Fayette and asked if they would put on Channel 14 because they had Comcast, and they had an error message, but we're not sure if that was just them, what the situation is. So until we could absolutely confirm that people actually were getting it, I haven't announced it yet to the public. We want to be able to make sure everything is in order before we do that. So hopefully we'll have some more information and have the TVs fixed in our building next week. At the end of the month, we are hosting the Southwest Regional Chamber of Commerce. They're just inviting any and all South Fayette businesses. They don't have to be a chamber member to come and kind of network among themselves. We're just kind of hosting, providing the space, allowing them a space to kind of get together and build some relationships among themselves. But certainly any commissioners who would like to come, you're welcome to do so. And I wanted to just make a note on my quarterly communications report. The big news looking at the numbers from the second quarter is the splash pad made a splash. We have so much website traffic to the splash page, the splash pad webpage, to all the social media posts that we've done on it, as well as a lot of parks and recreation topics. The ball field construction at Fairview is another big one. Just Fairview Park facilities in general, the Bark Park, and so forth. And if you look at our Facebook, kind of the top posts of all around splash pads. So that just really goes to show how interested people are in that amenity. And that's all I wanted to highlight. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any. Thank you. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
Nice job. Yeah. Thank you.
Jason, engineers report?
Good evening again, Commissioners. Jason Polovich with Gibson Thomas Engineering. We've talked about a number of the items on our report tonight, but I'll go through some of them just to rehash. One item we didn't talk about was the paving program. As I've reported in previous months, the paving contractor did complete all the paving for this year's contract. The paving rejuvenation contractor is going to begin in a week or so with that portion of the contract, and then that'll be wrapped up for the year. The MS4 program, our MS4 staff has met internally with Township staff to go over yearly report items. The DEP report is due September 30th, so we'll work with them on completion and submittal of that. Mohawk Road, obviously, I noted that earlier, is basically completed at this point. Planning items, we've talked about a few of those on tonight's agenda. A few I wanted to note, the South Fayette School District's bus garage project will be on Planning Commission this month, as will the tractor supply in Newberry. We have a couple applications associated with the new Duncan site in South Fayette Commons. They did request to be tabled, so they will not be on for this month's agenda. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to.
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, real quick, what's the latest on 13, which is it's the Wembley Club land development? What's the latest on that?
Wembley Club just most recently did receive all of their required authorizations
Great.
from the Conservation District, so the Township finalized developers agreements with them. They're in their hands for execution, but they can pretty much start on their own timeline for that one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Facilities report, Vitale?
Good evening, Commissioners. Vitalis, South Fayette Township Facility Manager. Some updates on electrical. Scheduled repairs been complete. Several relays have been replaced by electrical contractor. An emergency power generator, no updates, but I should have an update within a couple of weeks. HVAC system efficiency, scheduled maintenance supposed to be done today, but unfortunately they weren't able to come in due to emergency call-outs elsewhere. But they're coming in tomorrow to perform quarter maintenance. Monthly cleaning protocols in result. We have some success. This month, Building Stars cleaning contractor demonstrated their commitment to improve their services, and all of our complaints been resolved. They actually changed the cleaning crew. Special projects, restoration partially complete. We still have to plant few species outside and install the fresh mulch. Stormwater media installation partially complete. Building mechanicals, it's an ongoing project. Exterior windows cleaning is complete. Paving program, once again, it's complete. And 2025 highly anticipated Cecil Sturgeon full depth reclamation. Please feel free to look through exact details, what it's all about. So the contractor is actually mobilizing this Friday and anticipating starting date is next Monday. And also I've been working on a paving policy and procedures, how we do, when we do, how we utilize in our budget. It's been submitted for a review and feedback to my manager. And also I've been heavily involved in phase 3, fields project, so pretty much daily communication and a site's visit to the job site. I keep logs of daily reports, quantity has been installed, photographs, and That's all I have.
Probably start to keep you a little busier as we move through this 515 stuff when we get into heating and cooling and HVAC and the systems and that stuff to make sure we have the right stuff.
Correct.
A building. So appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Thanks, Vitaly.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? I will be glad to answer.
Great.
Thank you. Looks good.
Paula, Parks and Rec.
Good evening. Kind of picking up where Vitaly left off, the ball field project, they're moving along. We're still kind of on schedule. We have some changes to electrical and also a few changes to the dugouts for deductions. So that's good. We'll be definitely able to stay under that 2.7 million change order that you guys approved last time. With the ball fields, the field trip is also going to be submitting their designs and cost estimate for the multipurpose fields. Hopefully we can kind of gear that project kind of up right after and potentially use some of the dirt from the multipurpose fields to finish up the ball fields if we can kind of schedule it appropriately. Gibson Thomas has been working on the design for the main trail, which is the one along the road. They should be having kind of bid specs, still on schedule of bid specs by the end of the year. And the Parks and Rec Board reviewed the nature trails last night. So we're just today gave Gibson Thomas the okay to move forward with those designs and to submit the NPDS modification for the nature trails. The concession stand, as Andrew said, the splash pad is going well. The concession stand is going well. We did have to hire another park attendant. Based on kids' schedules, 4 was just not enough, couldn't make the schedules work. So it's something I learned this year. Next year, we'll hire more. These kids' schedules are very crazy. So as for events, we had our first summer kickoff concert June 20th. We had to move the location because of wet fields, but people actually kind of liked it up where it was, so we might keep that location. Fireworks went well. Every year I drive through the park and I say, I've never seen this many cars in the park, and once again, I still have never seen that many cars in the park, so it was a good attendance. And thank you to the police department and Public Works. We were able to park them and got the cars all out by 10:30, so traffic flowed very nicely. Also, last night in the Parks and Rec Board, they reviewed an e-bike policy, have some minor changes to make, and want to pass it on to our solicitor to do a final read-through, and probably should be to you guys next month to advertise and then adopt as an ordinance. And it's just for in Parks and Recreation, like parks, yeah. It wouldn't be for like township roads, but it would include trails and kind of.
You also have Chief Phoenix review that as well?
I pass it on to Chief and also Leiniger.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any questions?
Hey, the only thing I wanted to point out with regards to the turf baseball field project, we had some discussion last month regarding a change order, just to make the board aware. Since that time, staff, we have met with Gibson Thomas and the contractor about some value engineering. So we identified 2 things that could bring the cost down, one being the electrical path, so we did pursue that, and the second being the change in the kind of construction of the dugouts that might save us some money too. So we are actively still seeking ways to try to bring those numbers down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, one comment, and very good report. Third time I've seen it, right? Because I was here last night as well. One of the things that I was thinking about, and I don't know, maybe it's the way my mind works, it's all about like tracking and seeing how you're doing and going along the way. I think it's fantastic. If however many kids you want to get to have summer jobs, I think that's great. And I think the concession stand's a very nice benefit to the people that use the pad. What I'd like to be able to do is over the course of the summer, if we can just think about like creating, it doesn't have to be, FASB certified, but just to do like a very rough P&L on, concessions, top line sales versus net sales, all in, what are the costs for, labor up at the splash pad, include in, the maintenance, just so we know, what we're paying.
Yep.
over the
Yeah, the
course
cost
of
of service. Right?
the cost to serve, right?
Of testing water and everything.
Yeah, and I know we don't have, I don't think we do, right, any way of like estimating usage like we do like the Bark Park, right? But you probably have an idea from the people that work there, like what are the peak times? And I know everything's weather dependent as well.
I can definitely put those numbers together. I will say this year will be skewed because since we opened it, there was a lot of one-time costs that had to go into it, like the equipment and all that. But I can definitely put those numbers together. We have a people counter up there. It's not live yet. I have to change the batteries, but I could probably get it going so we can get a number from July to August. It's like a sensor. So I can get for attendance. But I can definitely put those numbers together. Would you want it at the end of the summer?
No, at the end of the season.
At the end of the season.
I don't want it every month. I don't want a new report. But, at the end of the year, concession costs, making it up, $14,000. Concession sales, $18,000, labor costs, maintenance costs,
Cost of sales,
just to
cost
get
of
an idea
goods.
that you can start to track over time.
I already actually kind of have that tracking already. I was planning on at the end of the season kind of putting it all together. And
I'm also surprised to see the number of yoga participants.
that one was off. That was a typo on my phone.
Okay, I was going to say,
we have a lot of
I did
2,840
yoga
participants in yoga. Like, what am I missing?
What kind of class is this,
Yeah. No, okay.
And you can change the batteries in that people counter.
Yeah.
We'll prove it.
Well, at least you know I read your report, right?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right.
And then I have to say, I'm super impressed with the sale of your Frito-Lay chips.
Yeah.
250 Frito-Lay chips for some.
And I can't
that's gotta be
believe
a
how many
record.
pizzas and macaroni and cheese. Went on a whim and was like, oh, we'll just put a microwave out and see if people like what would want to have like food. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I came up one afternoon.
So
She's like, I got to run and get
now.
Mickey Mouse ice cream. And I'm like, okay.
I can't keep those stocked enough.
I love it.
They know me down at BJ's Wholesale now. So.
I mean, if it's a convenience and then and the residents and the people that attend it, like it, that's what it's there for. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Chief?
You got to top that, Chief.
I can never top Paula. John Phoenix, Chief of Police. Good evening. Just to piggyback off of what Paula said, we had no major issues at all during the fireworks, and there was a lot of people up there. The biggest issue was the parking, but that's going to always happen. But there was no major issues at all. And to allude to what John said, our new car's in service now. It was uploaded. It's going to be named 9.5. So when you see 9.5 on the road, that's our brand new car. Mm-hmm. We're proud of it. The week of June 2nd, our department hosted a jiu-jitsu instructor training class. We had 35 participants in it. Part of it was on site here. That's why we were chosen to do it, and part was off site. By having this, to be able to host this, we were able to get 3 slots in there. It saved our budget $4,500 just to get the free slots. So that was really worth hosting that. For the month of June, we had 471 calls for service, and our officers had 193 traffic stops. That's all I have this month. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope. I was going to say, the only question that I had, unless you got...
No, you go.
No, I was going to mention, I know we talked a little bit about the e-bikes last month.
Yes.
Talked about, and I'm using e-bikes as a generic term. I understand there's different types of motorized vehicles, but once we kind of settle in on, I guess, rules of engagement with the parks, maybe we should re-engage with police to determine, like, what do we want to do in the townships, and what do we have jurisdiction over, what do we don't? Because I don't think we don't want them banned. I mean, they are a valuable.
Right, yeah, exactly.
use
my biggest concern is the safety.
Yeah.
And a lot of it falls back onto the state law. There's certain regulations that they have to meet. We can enforce those things, but the parks would, if it's posted in the parks and we have an ordinance for that, it would give our officers more teeth to be able to enforce it. Throughout the rest of the roads in the township, that's a whole different story. That's where I'm more worried about.
Oh, well, 100%. I mean, I've seen them on the school road in the dark.
Yeah, coming down Washington Pike, the sheets at 9 o'clock at night on the scooters. Wow. The e-bikes have regulation. The scooters are completely illegal to be on the street. We've gone over that. But Paula has put together a nice ordinance with that, and I've reviewed it along with Lieutenant Leininger, and we're in agreement with it. So
my only point was, if we need to expand that out to encompass not only parks.
Yes.
I mean, it's also township property, right? So, like, up here is not a park, but if you were to
Yeah.
do it, that same stuff would apply.
Yeah, no, we reached out to Chris. Chris sent that off, and I believe John sent it to you, so.
Yeah. I'm speaking at the July 23rd HOA Summit, or whatever we call it here. And I'm going to spend some time on that with the HOA boards.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know
They
what
can
they
take
put
it
in
back
it,
and they
yeah.
can enforce it in their own neighborhoods.
Yeah.
That's an idea there. So that would help us a lot too. So I'm going to talk extensively at that July 23rd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want 25 police officers chasing 8-year-olds all over the township. You know what I mean?
I don't want them either.
Yeah.
Just let us, let
Put
us
him in
know what
cuffs.
you need.
No
on that front.
pursuits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let us know what you need.
Any other
on that
questions,
front.
sir?
I know. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Danny, Public Works.
We'll start with the mechanics. They were busy over the month, as they always, inspections and breakdowns. And we also have an update on the salt building at Boys Home. We got the paving done inside the building. We got the roof on. Now we're working on the electric, so we should be ready to go by winter. We should have salt in there by winter. We did some painting in the parks. We were able to paint the one bathroom in Fayette inside and out. And we were able to paint, what was the other one? What was it? Sturgeon. Sturgeon bathrooms inside. So they're looking pretty good now.
Good.
We're keeping up on the mowing, cleaning the pavilions and the splash pad, which takes every day cleaning the splash pad. We're patching roads and building curbs for water. We're finished the French drain up at Valley View, and we also helped Oak Ridge Fire Department out with their problem with the rain conductors. So we helped them guys out too. And good thing, the trusses came for the new storage building down in Bayview today. We're going to start putting them up on Monday, so which will be a good thing.
Be under roof in no time.
There you go.
Cool.
We're moving along.
Is that it?
Beautiful. That's it.
Thank you, Dan. Any
Thanks, Dan.
questions?
Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
John, I reviewed that request tracker. I don't think there's anything in there really that we need to spend
No.
much time on.
I agree.
All right. Solicitors report, Gary?
For public session.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary.
I know we had some folks that would like to make public comments. We'll ask you to come up at this point. I do want to remind you, this is recorded. The board will hear comments from residents and/or taxpayers. The time limit of comments will not exceed 3 minutes. We don't have a stopwatch, right? But, and the board will not respond to questions during this session, or may not respond to questions during the sessions, but we'll hear public comment. So, does anyone want to go first? Oh, come on. We don't bite.
So, my name's Kelly Cunningham, and I work for the United States Tennis Association. I'm the community tennis manager, and I'm here with residents who asked me to speak to give you some data. They want to start the conversation about possibly adding a couple more tennis courts in the community. Some of the data that I'm giving you, what was compiled using the census. We have USTA databases, a PAC study, which is the Physical Activity Council that does a study for us every so many years, and the CDC. And what it shows, the second page, is kind of the demographics on where we took the data from. We used the high school as the center point, and we did a 25-minute drive around the high school just to show what the data is. It shows that you do have active USTA members and coaches and people in the area that can provide tennis. Really, the next page summarizes that in this area that we highlighted, there's 30 schools, not just in South Fayette, but in other communities around you. There's 1,800 junior players that have played in the last 12 months in that area, and 1,400 junior players that are interested in playing. So there is a lack of tennis courts in this area. And there's also adults. 5,600 players in that area have played in the last year, and 6,000 are interested in playing. And the next page is just some of the benefits of youth playing tennis. We have some youth here that play in your district and have played in your district who have benefited from this. And then also another study that shows that tennis adds 9.7 years longevity to your life. It was a study taken over 25 years by the Copenhagen City Heart Study.
Does that matter when you start?
It does not matter.
So 90,
It doesn't matter when you start. But, and then, so the USTA provides, we've worked with Paula in the past. We did provide a grant to resurface the 2 courts that you have at Fairview Park. There is another, we will provide funding for new courts as well, up to 50% of the project, $35,000 per court. The USTA is very committed to adding courts to get more people playing tennis, especially in parks and recs. So we know, based on the residents here, they really want more courts in the area because, as they will say, they have to travel to Fort Cherry to play.
Specifically Fairview court.
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be excellent.
And I think Tim maybe alluded to, and I said, we may respond. And one of the things we learned from talking to the school, and we're trying to build a better partnership with the school. I mean, when I went to school here, tennis wasn't a thing, right? But then a couple kids went and played with Fort Cherry, and from what I understand now, it's going to be all South Fayette. The other thing that we learned from that meeting, I guess, there's kind of a minimum number of courts you need to actually hold like a tournament, right? So, I mean, I know like other sports like, baseball or lacrosse, they want to have, these events to help, fund their programs. How many courts do you feel would be needed or appropriate in a park like Fairview? And again, I don't know anything about tennis, so is it ideal to have them like all in one section, or if you had ones here and over, does that matter?
It doesn't matter. They should be close together, I would
Okay.
think. But I think 4 would be the minimum if you wanted to hold a one-day tournament, maybe like a 16 draw. So you have 2 there now. So I think the residents here are looking for possibly 2 more in Fairview Park in close proximity to the 2 courts that are there. And then they could also.
There's some space around it. There's a basketball court right next to the tennis courts.
Yeah.
And I currently help out with the summer program right now with the township.
Okay. Great.
And the demand is very high for tennis. And Janice here would even speak.
It wasn't as high as yoga. No.
2,000. You build it, they will come.
You build it, they will come.
Yeah.
But Janice has statistics here too.
Yeah.
What Upper St. Clair did.
Yeah, so Jan runs the program at Upper St. Clair, and she has some facts.
So
Hi,
great
Janice.
to be here, and just let me tell you, I love South Fayette residents, the kids. These kids are beautiful. I don't know if you know, but Jake Patterson, who played for South Fayette, went on. He's a Denison. They won the national championship. He plays number 3. He's amazing. He started in our program on orange ball, because there's certain balls. And this is very interesting with the balls.
Oh, there you go.
I'm sorry.
You can pull that down a little bit too. That's just so we,
Down a
yeah.
bit.
There you go.
Okay. But I started the program in Upper St. Clair at 1983, which is 42 years ago.
Wow.
And we have been going strong. I have 181 players last year from South Fayette in our program, which is 10%. We had like 1,700 players, adults, every age from 4 on up. You'll see in the paper. And I'm here to support this. I have this on my heart for a long time, and I just found out about this meeting because of all the South Fayette kids that have come through the program, and their family. Just the Upper St. Clair embraces everyone. We have people come from everywhere to the program, but we have 10 courts, and we bubble 6. We only bubbled 2 starting out. But when I came there, there was zero programming, and it was this sounds very familiar to me, something like this. I'm very excited. I would actually love to partnership with you. I know how to do this. I know how to start it. And we would go through schools, and it would probably blow up, actually, and for you guys. And your residents would be very, very happy. So I'm here to support these people. And like I said, over the years, and it's gotten a lot more, to the present time, much more than even before with South Fayette and you guys growing this beautiful community. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just going to add 2 points. The first, again, the demand for the tennis is very high in the community. I also coach the high school girls and boys for South Fayette. So I see it there as well as in the community. I live right across the street, Hastings. So I'm over at Fairview and I'm helping out now. The second thing I would say is the baseball fields that you have built in Fairview Court. It's fantastic. Baseball and tennis overlap. I was recruited for both softball, D1, and tennis. I chose tennis. But those two sports overlap. They will heighten the athleticism of the kids, even with the other sports and the ball fields that you have there with the tennis. So I just thought I would bring that too, that Fairview Park is an excellent place because you are going to have baseball players playing tennis, tennis playing baseball players.
I was going to ask a silly question because, again, pardon my ignorance, but is there because it seems like nothing has a season anymore, right? It's like my kids played lacrosse, it's year round, right? Baseball is pretty much year. Is there a season for tennis?
It's a good point. Yeah, there's fall and spring for the boys and the girls. But if you put bubbles, like Upper St. Clair, you have a year-round sport in that park. And you can bring in clinics, private lessons, tournaments, fundraisers. And all that money that we pay to Upper St. Clair will come in to South Fayette.
You're in a program, right?
It's thousands.
Okay.
I could imagine. Yeah, thousands. Yeah.
Thousands that she paid just for two boys.
Real quick, these two are my kids, and we're a tennis family. They've been playing tennis ever since pretty much when they started walking. And unfortunately, we do have Upper St. Clair, but all these years we've been paying all the money for the clinics and the tournaments and everything outside of South Fayette.
Yeah.
So my request, and I think there's a big need to have some courts within the community. And the kids have a couple of things that they
I
wanted
won't
to
take
say.
up your guys' time, sorry. Good evening, my name is, my
Speak
name is
slow.
Aditya Patel. I'm a sophomore at Penn State University. I play on the club tennis team there, and I was the former varsity captain for the South Fayette High School team. In my years of playing on the team, I noticed that it was a little tough because our team had to travel to Fort Cherry to play, and the courts were not in the best condition, and people weren't able to come out and support us. I think I got one of my classmates to come out in all 4 years to watch me play, ever. So that was also one of the things that really bothered me. But aside from that, I really believe that I know we have Fairview courts and the one court in Morgan, and those are great, but I think we can definitely build something better by implementing a few more courts in the community, because if you look around in every sort of community in America and across the world, there's always tennis courts, and that's one of the foundational games that people play. So I really hope that we can build in our vibrant South Fayette community a few more courts and just add on to the awesome game. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it? Thank you. No, thank you very much
Thanks,
for your
guys.
time.
And hey, Chuck, if you don't mind, I was just going to mention a couple things. So in terms of tennis, we have met with the school board about possibly partnering with them, which is really exciting in the future on tennis. And the second thing is, this is private, but there's something called the Wembley Center. If you've heard about this, I don't know. I know it's been around, but he was going to do 100% tennis, like 11 or 12 tennis courts. He's from Cleveland.
Yeah.
But then he shifted to basketball and pickleball, but now he may be shifting back to tennis. So if you have not spoke with him, I can get you in contact with him.
Okay.
But it's private, obviously, it's for hire, right?
And we have met with the school district as well.
Okay.
I'm going by what the residents want, so
Yeah.
I'm
Sure.
just here to support and provide.
Oh, no, this is
funding.
great. No, I'm just
Yeah, we
telling you,
appreciate
it's definitely on it's definitely on the radar.
We have met with the school district, and we know their plans, their building plans for the future, but, it's just, tennis is big in your community, and
Yeah.
there's only a couple courts, so that's why we're here. But yeah, I'd love to talk to Wembley as well.
Okay.
No, and your point is, if you have kids that live in Fairview and Oak Ridge, or Fairview and Hunting Ridge, they can't walk to the school.
Right. It's pretty far.
Yeah. That, it makes it a little tough.
It's a great park, so to have
Yeah.
tennis accessible then is great.
All right, thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Good evening, Stephen, Victor Wetzel Associates. I didn't plan that you were so fast. I was here for planning to be for the Oakdale subdivision and for the Walker's Mill project.
Yeah, I recognized when you came in.
I don't know what action you took. If you tabled it, I don't know if it's something you can bring back and we can discuss it this evening.
I don't think there was anything to discuss. They were both motions were approved.
Okay, so they were both
Did a
approved.
great job, so we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Robinson, appreciate your vote. Thank you.
We try to tell them you have to be present to get the approval, but.
I'm here.
Yeah.
He did show up.
And
He
by
didn't
the
say
way,
when you had to
I
be
support the tennis
Item
players.
13. Item 13, we had board discussion. The only thing that I had, I'm going to be traveling for our next board meeting. I wanted to see if anyone could potentially consider moving that just back a week. So that would go from August 13th to the 20th.
Oh, they're back a week. Okay, forward. Okay.
Well, I don't go to school. So
It's Wednesday night.
it's Wednesday night.
That's the first day of school?
It might be, it's that or the day before. I think it is the first day of school.
What's that?
It is the first day.
Well,
They don't go to school at
it's a
night.
quorum. We need 4 for a quorum?
Yeah,
Three? We need
could
4?
we, yeah, it's a,
I'm up.
I'm okay. Whatever you guys want.
20th? Is what you're
Is that,
saying?
is that the following Wednesday? Or if there's another day that
Yeah.
week,
not on the first day of school.
I don't think we're going to do anything on a Friday.
We're not doing anything.
No.
Could we do the 19th or the 21st?
Switch it to Tuesday or Thursday.
I think as long as it doesn't affect a planning or zoning,
You're good. The way the Thursdays work, planning's the 28th, and zoning, I think, is the 27th.
if Tuesday or Thursday works for everyone, I'd be happy to accommodate that request.
Fine with me.
Works with me.
Tuesday, the 19th?
I would prefer Tuesday if we could.
Yep.
You do
All right.
that?
All right, so we'll move out to Tuesday, the 19th.
We'll get an advertisement out.
Yep. And does anyone else have any board discussion?
No, I'm good.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you all for coming. Meeting is
Thanks,
adjourned.
everyone.